Happy Friday's Eve to you, Junkie Nation. We're live from Junkie Nation. I'm your host, Kenshiro, and let me quickly introduce the panelists for today. We got the great Dadakuji checking in.
Hey everybody, good evening. Thanks for watching.
We got GQ checking in.
Hey everyone, I've just acquired another Dragon Ball and I've got
Nice.
Thanos behind me.
Hey, I like that Thanos thing. You unboxed that today, didn't you? That was
Yeah,
really
we'll talk
nice.
about that later
Yeah, we'll
on.
talk about it later. And finally we got Simon Says joining us today.
Hey, what's going on, Junkie Nation?
All right, guys, let's get to it real quick. We got a couple of news items. Actually, real quick. GQ, go over your unboxing and what is that you unboxed today? Because you kind of teased it yesterday. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got there?
Well, as you can kind of see in the background there, the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, direct from his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the Hot Toys, very, very expensive collectible.
Hmm.
Like I said in the unboxing, did not pay full price for it, but full price is $414.99 plus shipping
Yeesh.
from Sideshow, so that would be 440 because that's a very, very large box, big, huge figure. He's about 15, maybe 15 and a quarter inches tall. The throne itself that he's sitting on actually is taller than the Devastator that I have, the Combiner Wars Devastator. So that gives you an
Wow.
idea
No kidding.
of how big that thing is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, Junkie Nation should go over to the unboxing. It's right there on the culturejunkies.net. And you can check the whole thing out, see, some close ups and that sort of thing. Um, and I've actually got the next two sideshow things that I want to get lined up. So there'll be some future unboxings coming up.
Got any hints? What's in mind? Or you want to kind of just leave us guessing?
No,
Okay.
come on
All
now. You
right.
gotta
All
you
right.
gotta tune in. You know how that
Yeah, I
goes.
know how it goes.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Coolio. Good stuff. So let's get to the news of the day, and probably the biggest news of the day was the release of this incredibly awesome trailer for Daredevil, starring Elektra. I thought it was fantastic. Elodie Young. Oh my goodness, she. Whew, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool, especially since it introduced the hand as a very prominent feature of this season as well. So it looks like the hand's going to mix it up, and Punisher is going to end up being like a wild card, and we really don't know what Lecter's true motivations are. So if you guys got to see it today, so why don't you give us a little bit about what your thoughts are on the trailer, Dadakuji?
Well, I love Marvel's universe. Let it be known. I will say that every single time you ask me. I just checked out the trailer not too long ago, and I think I'm more excited about season 2 than season 1. And season 1 was phenomenal, but it was a startup. Startups can be a little bit slow. I didn't read the comic books. Was the man behind the what do they call it? Where he wasn't wearing a Daredevil outfit. He was
He
wearing
was the Man in Black.
black.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was waiting for him to get the outfit. Now, this whole entire season 2, he's going to be wearing his traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really. Whatever, you know what I mean. But he's
Yeah.
wearing his costume,
Right.
and I don't know much about Elektra, and I don't know her importance, but just the whole season with the whole thing we're talking about the Yakuza and seeing the Punisher in there and just the stuff that they're going through. I can't wait. March 18th can't get here fast enough.
No, it really can't. Simon Says, what do you think?
They really didn't need to throw this trailer in because I was already hooked from the first one when they showed the Punisher and they actually you know dropped a little bombshell that she was going to be in it when we showed them in his apartment. So that gave me the hook. They could have just kept that all hush hush. I'd be like, when the series hit, they just surprised them. Oh damn! Oh my god! And just did it like that. That'd have been cool. But it is what it is. I'm gonna still watch it. But yeah, they didn't really need it because I was already a fan anyways.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. GQ, what did you think of the trailer?
Well, honestly, I've always liked the character of Daredevil. Obviously, Ben Affleck, not necessarily 100% his fault, kind
Mm-hmm.
of messed up the character
Mm-hmm.
portrayal way back when they did that Daredevil movie, way before time of being ready to do true comic book movies. But I'm glad to see that the Netflix series, like I said, I still haven't seen it yet, but I'm glad to understand that the Netflix series is taking it seriously. It's Marvel Studios, so I mean, of course, they're going to get it right. And it's also cool that they got Elektra in there. She's always been one of the more interesting characters, in my opinion. I always like female ninjas, so I mean, her and Psylocke have always been, top
Two of your
tier
favorites.
character. Yeah, two of my
Yeah.
favorites. So Elodie Young, she's a good fit for that. She, if you look at GI
Yes,
Joe
she is.
Retaliation, you look at GI Joe Retaliation, she did okay as Jinx. They didn't obviously give her a ton of material to work with, but you could see
Mm,
that she takes her martial arts seriously. So that's definitely a good thing. At least you got an actress that looks the part, can fight, essentially basically like the character's supposed to fight. So I mean that makes it a better fit. So I mean I'm going to be on board with it. I'll probably I don't know, sneak over one of you guys' houses and watch it or something.
You're welcome to come
So
over anytime, man. I'll
yeah,
watch it.
so
I'll watch it with you, man. It seriously was
yeah,
really great.
looks like it's going to
So
be good.
it is going to be good. This is going to be good. So speaking of martial arts, Marvel hit us with the introduction of Iron Fist, and it's going to be a guy from Game of Thrones, the heir of the House of the House of Tyrell, Finn Jones, uh, plays uh, the flamboyantly gay knight of the House of Tyrell. Now, say what you will about Finn Jones. Uh, I don't know anything about his prowess with martial arts or anything of that nature. He doesn't seem to have any. He kind of has a very slight build, in my opinion. But this is who Marvel settled on, and they haven't really had any misses so far. So, uh, give me your thoughts on this selection, GQ. What did you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy?
Um, I've never really, again, I don't really watch Game of Thrones. I don't follow it closely. It's just there's so many other shows that I watch. It's like I didn't have time for that one. So
Right.
I think the issue, again, it goes back to what I've always said. If you cast the right person for the look, you can fill in the skill later.
Hmm.
Going back to Jason Scott Lee, the man who played Bruce Lee in his life story,
He was great.
didn't know a lick of martial arts though,
Nope.
ever in his life.
Yep.
So when he got that role, he went through the proper training and all that other sort of thing, and they made it look good. So if you can get somebody that never did martial arts to be Bruce Lee, damn it, you can get them to play Iron Fist. I mean, it's not too much of a stretch. And again, it goes back to if they work the mysticism in there and all that other sort of thing, they can make it happen. I mean,
Oh, certainly.
if you can make Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne have a convincing dojo fight, you can make this kid, Iron Fist, Danny
Right.
Rand, whatever. You can make it work.
Well, Dada Kuji, why don't you give your 2 cents? This guy, as far as look, I'm not sold. I'm not sold. What do you think?
Well, look, I'm gonna say this: Iron Fist. Every single iteration I've ever seen of Iron Fist, he's wearing a mask. So I have no idea what the character looks like. Okay, so they could have picked any generic white guy and probably got away with it. But I guess you need somebody who can remember lines and able to act and able to pick up things fast enough to be a convincing role, to be in a convincing role or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
I'd assume that he is. He's a character from Game of Thrones. I do watch Game of Thrones. I'm behind the season, as most people watch it. Right away. I tend to wait, and I don't remember his character in the series. Like vaguely, I might have like vague things that I've seen, but I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. But
Mhm.
regardless of that, um, if he can pull it off, if they can do exactly like GQ said, take a person who knows no martial arts and have him put him in a gym for a bit and him be able to pick up movie martial arts, because you have to realize movie martial arts, real martial arts are completely different. Even people who know martial arts have to learn how to do movie martial arts because it's different. Um, I think he could do it. I mean, I can't say that I can be convinced or not convinced because he wears a mask. So how do we not know? Does it really matter? I can't say neither here nor there. I just hope that the character is somewhat true to the comic book. But as of Marvel's track record, he more than likely will be. I mean, they only have one, and that's the Mandarin. That's not really.
Simon says you're much too valuable. 2 cents, please.
Well, I mean, if they can make Charlie Cox, who's playing Daredevil, Daredevil, they could do it with Finn Jones. Because if you think about it, I mean, they took a relative unknown. I mean, he's not really relative unknown Charlie Cox, but I mean, they turned him into Daredevil, and he thrive, pretty good. So I mean, he's pretty much gonna be nonstop in the gym learning all kinds of stuff because either that or they're do a lot of stunt doubles in this series, which I can see happening, but and plus like GQ said, they're gonna do a lot of CG animation too with his chi abilities, so that's gonna be another aspect into the series. But I'm all
Hmm.
for it, and just to touch note on Atakuji's what does he look like? Basically, he's a blonde white boy, so they pretty much got the the character down because I saw he got pretty much blonde hair, but they got to reduce some of his hair though, really. But
Yeah,
they
they'll
fixed it. They
probably
fixed.
shave it.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I said they'll probably shave it. They'll probably shave it.
Oh yeah, yeah, but no, yeah, I think they did a good job picking him out. But yeah, again, he's gonna be in the gym nonstop just to get his skills up to par.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I'm sure. After they cast him, they probably say, you know what, we're sending you to our in-house martial arts master. Get to work. That's pretty much what
Yeah.
what they said. So that's
Well, actually, I mean, he went through a training. He went through training in the series anyway.
oh,
So
for Game of Thrones, but
yeah.
that's different than martial arts. So that's, I
No,
mean,
no, no. I'm talking about the comic. I'm talking about the comic book character.
oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, and yeah, that part I understand. So, but
yes.
yeah, but that's the kind of the quick news of the day. So we're gonna move on to the meat of the show. Um, we were gonna do some recaps of Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow, but unfortunately, not enough of us have seen them yet. So we will table those for another time. Um, so let's move on, guys, to what brings us to the show today.
Hang on, you
And
had some leftover recaps from Arrow, didn't you?
I did, but we I watched it. Did you watch it?
Hey, what about Suits? Suits is another good show.
Suits is a very good
Suits.
show. Suits is a very good show,
Uh
and I,
huh.
and I do thank you for turning me on to that. But
Uh huh.
I mean, hey, if you want to throw in a quick recap of Suits, go right
All
ahead.
right,
This
real
season looks
quick.
pretty easy,
Real
pretty
quick.
interesting.
Here's what's going on with Suits. For anybody that doesn't know what Suits is a show about attorneys. You got his kid, Mike Ross. He's essentially a fraud, but he's got a photographic memory. So he basically kind of weaseled his way into this law firm, became one of their top, associate lawyers. So the whole series has always been about, where is he going to get caught? Well,
Hmm.
they finally got to the beginning of this. I'm sorry, after the mid-season, the midwinter break or whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
he finally got caught. So
Hmm.
now they're trying to get him off. They're trying to go through the trial and get him off of the charges. And the episode of the last night's episode was essentially him representing himself. He's not really truly a lawyer, but representing himself, trying to essentially, convince the jury that, hey, I became a lawyer to help people and blah blah blah. And he's just, essentially trying to not be found guilty.
Hmm.
And the cliffhanger that they're leaving, because there's one episode left in the series, or at
Hmm.
least this season rather,
Hmm.
is whether or not he's going to take the DA's deal, the prosecutor's deal rather, whether or not he's going to take their deal to rat out the other partners, essentially the people that hired him, and let him get away with it,
Ooh.
or to take jail time and leave them in the clear. So it's, again, I've always liked the show. I think it's in its fifth season. This is going to be the end of the fifth season coming up next week.
The
So I
first
think it's
time,
really,
yeah,
mhm.
the first time I ever saw the show was actually at your house, and you
Yeah.
were playing the season one DVD, and I was like, man, this show is really good. I always had an interest in the
Hmm.
show, and it's very interesting. I love the cast. I think they play off each other very, very well.
Yep.
And I always wondered. I said, all this time he's been working as a lawyer. Never once did he just say, hey, this might happen. I might get caught. Why don't I just go ahead and go do some night school classes and go ahead and take the bar exam and pass the bar? What? He's supposed to be that smart, but he didn't think of that very simple solution, huh?
Well, it was one of those situations where it's like sometimes if you've already started something and you get into it, you're in over your head because you keep going, you get deeper and deeper into it,
I get you.
and now you've got all of these other problems because you got to remember, if he's already been practicing as a lawyer,
Hmm.
all of those cases that he won are in jeopardy now if he suddenly has to go back and be on record that now he's in night school trying to take classes to become a lawyer. So I mean
Right.
that was always the fun of the series. It's like, wow, is he going to get caught? okay, well, who's going to find out next? So I mean, it was
Right.
always a really good series, and like I said, for
Hmm.
anybody out there, I think it's even on Netflix or USA Demand or whatever.
Might be on USA
Check it
Demand
out.
because if it was on Netflix, I'd be watching it right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
check it out. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely worth it. You know what? Skip it. You know, you started a recap. I'm gonna do a recap. I'm the one that watched Arrow, so I'll go ahead and tell you. You know, kind of give you my feelings about what happened. You know, Big Kahuna, he's in the chat right
Hey, I
now.
watched
He's
it too.
he's he's feel okay. Excuse me. I'll
Yeah.
include you in on it too. All right then, fine. But shout out to Big Kahuna. He's in the chat right now. He wasn't able to join us. He's feeling under the weather. Get better, big fella. We need you back on the show as soon as we can. Uh,
About
we
to put
miss
you
you.
on the mute.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me go ahead and give you my feelings on Arrow. Arrow I thought was a pretty good episode. This season, you know, as I alluded to last week, this season kind of hasn't really been getting me. But this season has. I mean, this episode that we just had was actually really good. Um, it starred Vixen coming from Detroit. You know, showed some shots of Detroit. Gave Detroit some love, which I personally loved that about it. And the way they depicted Vixen, using the same LA Gamer for Life. Thank you for joining the chat. If you haven't followed us yet, please hit the follow. Let's see who you get. He's joining us on Twitch, guys. Um,
Very cool. Real quick,
yeah.
is Vixen the character really from Detroit, or is that
Yes.
just? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
She's really
I'll
from
give
Detroit.
them that.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, oh, find another black person, make it from Detroit.
Right. No, this wasn't pandering. LA Gamer for Life. Simon says I gotta stop my recap real quick because what LA Gamer for Life said, is pretty funny. Says Simon says looks like a '70s kung fu action star.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
What it's got to be the bald head and the beard. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be that, man. Oh,
Hey, man. Hey, that works, man. That
that's
definitely
that's
works.
really great. LA Gamer for Life. Thank you for joining, man. I hope you're enjoying the show. Anyway, back to the recap of Arrow. Vixen, the way they did Vixen in the show today, this week, I thought was really good. I like the way they portrayed the character. They kept her, very solid in what they established in that short animated series. She had longer hair, of course, but the way they depicted her. The way they depicted her powers, was pretty much in line with how she's always been depicted. They had her flying, they had her channeling the powers of the rhino, channeling the powers of a cheetah or a panther too. So it wasn't too effects laden, but what they did with her, even with the flying effects and stuff like that, it was all very well done and very practical. It made me think that they could spin her off into a series, even though I think that's unlikely. I think she'll probably pop up in the Flash next at some point. Um, and I did find that one line when Oliver brought her to the base.
You should like animate it or something like that.
Yeah. When Oliver
Yeah,
brought her
I
to the
know.
base, they said, when I first met Mari, we had a very animated encounter.
Animated. Yeah,
Very nice line. But no, when Samantha gave her Williams Flash figure, and she had to smell it. She started sniffing it, and she was like, "You better not,
yeah. She said,
don't you
"Don't
dare
tell
tell
Larry."
Barry
Yeah,
about this, man."
that was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was very funny. But no, the episode was very well done, very action packed. You could tell Neil McDonough really likes playing Damien Dark because he plays it with like this. This glee, just the way he loves throwing out the puns and stuff like that, and even when he's about to do something very sinister, and it remains to be seen now that he's been depowered and the totem. That makes you
Mhm.
now the conversation needs to kind of switch to who is it that really is in that grave, and it must be Malcolm that put them there. That Malcolm must be the guy that Oliver is talking about killing. Because if Damien Dark
Mhm.
has been apprehended and is depowered, then it obviously can't be him. And it looks like Malcolm is being positioned now as the overall big bad once again, like he kind of was in season one. What do you think, Simon Says?
I think it could be. I'm just going to go out on a limb. Maybe Slade might have gotten out
I would love to see
because
Slade, but there's been
I,
no hints of that.
no, yeah, but he can do stuff behind the scenes. But I do think it's probably Malcolm, but it would be kind of a twist if they did it like that with Slade coming back. That would throw that
No,
would piss a lot
no,
of people
no,
off,
no.
but
I'm
it would,
sorry.
that would be
I'm
funny.
sorry. Hold up,
That
man.
would
Hold
be
up, man.
funny.
Stop the phone. Stop the show. Handle Omega. Welcome to the chat, sir. Simon says looks better than he did yesterday. That orange shirt made me think he was chatting from prison.
What? That was a red shirt, man.
Wow.
Damn. I'm getting a
Big
lot
ups to
of
the
damn.
big ups to the Junkie Nation family. Oh man, y'all coming with it
Damn.
today. Hey, oh man, but you know they only talking about you because they love you, man.
Oh yeah,
that's some good stuff. No, get back to what you
no
were saying.
good, no good press is good press or something like that. But I actually like the and I don't know about you, but I know some people are saying that the whole those flashbacks are kind of like slowing down. But I'm looking at this certain flashback is kind of interesting because
It
it's like involving magic and everything, and
Yeah,
it
it
kind of
was, but I'm tired of the flashbacks. They need to, when next season comes around, the flashbacks need to go. I'm sorry. Enough with the flashbacks, okay?
I agree, but I'm just kind of interested in this one in particular, not the other ones, because those ones kind of were like whatever. This one
Hmm.
kind of interesting to me because I want to know what's in that cave. To be honest with you.
Yeah, but I'm overall, even when I see those flashbacks, I'm out. I tuned out. I tune out. I do. So I think as a plot device, I think they're done with. They're over. It's run its course. Get it out of
I
here.
kind of think
You
so
know.
too because it's like he's off the island. There's no more need for flashbacks.
Right. I mean, and even this year when they pinned him back on the island, I was just like, what is this? We spent the past 3 seasons on this damn island. Get him off of there. Come on, man.
Mhm.
This is ridiculous. Anyway, so moving on from that, we also kind of saw a little bit of Legends of Tomorrow today, with Star City in the year 2046. The interesting twist is that Connor Hawk was in the show, and Connor Hawk turned out not to be Oliver's son, but to
But
be John Diggle's son, John Diggle
that was
Jr., who
weird.
preferred not to go by John Diggle Jr., but as Connor Hawk because he felt like he didn't deserve to have John's name because he allowed him to die. What? So your father dies and you say, "Oh well, I'm just going to abandon his name and
Yeah,
just
that's
just
kind
take on this
of
random name, Connor Hawk." What?
yeah. I don't. I'm not digging that.
I'm not
I
digging
would
that either. I
assume
thought it was
that
stupid.
I would
He, he,
I would assume that it would be his son William that took Connor Hawk or something like that. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't think so because uh, William was white, and Connor Hawk has always been, darker skin. Wow, that leads into the theme of the show today. But no, literally, Connor Hawk has always been darker skin, has been of a minority descent, with Oliver being half his father. Um, so you
but it
know,
could have also been like he could have felt guilty that, like you said, he let his father die. So hearing that name constantly would bring about all that
yeah,
guilt.
but come on, man, I wouldn't do that. Would you do that?
I'm not saying I would do that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. It's also another possibility. If your last name is Diggle, you might want to just be like, dude, I can't take that. Diggle, Diggle Jr. Like
Diggle
no,
Jr.
no, no, John Diggle Jr. No, I'm changing my name, Connor Hawk, all day long. There you go.
And you know what? You say that, and that's exactly what he did all day long. Every time Oliver, the old Oliver, when he finally showed up, um, kept calling him John. He was like, "It's Connor Hawk. I go by Connor Hawk. I go by Connor Hawk." I mean, he was firm in that. He was firm in that. Overall, the show I thought was pretty good, because of the dynamic. Um, Oh, it's about time, Dex. Thank you for joining the show. Dex is the one that said you look like you were chatting from prison. Simon says so. You can thank him later. Um,
I will.
yeah, I'm sure you will if you can ever catch this guy. Anyway, um, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. I do feel a lot better. Um, I I thought the show was really good, especially the way Heatwave was kind of like really starting to click. He really wanted to kind of stay in the future because to him it was tantamount to paradise. I mean, he got to run the show there. It was a gang. There was no
Burns and
heroes.
stuff.
There was no heroes. But what kind of struck me as odd is that Captain Cold was being, Snart was being the voice of reason. He was saying, hey, let's get back to the team. Let's get out of here. What about, Vandal Savage? Let's not forget what we were coming here for, and let's not get stuck, in this happy land that isn't really our time. I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
But that's always been Captain Cold's thing, though. Captain Cold has always been,
The voice of reason for the
exactly, for lack
rogues.
of a better word, he's always been a cool customer. So I mean, it's like he's always going to essentially not give in to that, overbearing joy of, oh, this is such a great timeline and blah blah blah. He's always been the one that's just like, look, we've got a particular goal in mind. Let's get it done and get back to get back to regular life.
Hmm.
So I've always liked. I like the fact that they got Whitworth Miller playing him exactly like
Oh, I
that.
do. I do too.
It's perfect.
I do too. I think Wentworth Miller was a perfect casting for the character, and I think he really enjoys it. He enjoys it a lot. I think he really enjoys playing Captain Cold, um, and I think we enjoy him being Captain Cold. The other kind of thing they had going on there was Jax was kind of starting to feel Kendra, and I guess from a certain perspective. That might be pretty cool because I don't want to say that black on black love is being devalued in Hollywood, but at the same time, I know interracial thing is kind of like the flavor of the month, whatnot. Whether it's Olivia Pope or any other countless amounts of characters like or even Diggle on John on. I see you laughing there, GQ. No, even Diggle, having a white wife and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with love. Love is great, no matter whatever color it comes in. But having the black on black love, I know that was probably something that kind of a lot of people were really feeling on the show as well. Um, I didn't.
I have a hard time with Kendra's teeth. She's a very very attractive girl, but her teeth, man, no, dude, it hurts my feelings every time. See her in a picture and she's smiling. It's just like you look great. It's just
Mhm.
your mouth and your teeth are too big, but it's just I can't help it. But again, very very attractive woman. I'm glad that, like they said, they're moving the Hawkman and Hawkgirl story forward though.
And you know what? That's the other thing too is I'm surprised Connor Estate is dead as long as he has. I mean, really, Carter Hall. I mean, I thought he was going to be back by now. It's almost like he's like completely off the canvas. Like for real. I mean, I thought they would find a way to kind of either bring him back or go back in time and kind of find him again. Or it's weird. I mean,
Well, the show's almost over. You ain't bringing them back.
right, and it's like well, I'm pretty sure he'll probably be back by the time the season finale comes around. Um, but real quick, just real quick, how do you think the show's been going? So far, has it been kind of everything you've been expecting, or has it kind of fallen short of the mark?
I think it's falling kind of short. It's
Hmm.
just like they're. I don't know. It has its moments, but it hasn't really been picking up the way I expected it to pick up.
Hmm.
I think the
I
problem
mean,
is oh go ahead.
no, yeah, you're good, yeah.
No, I'm saying I think the problem with it is it had a lot of hype
Hmm.
leading into it. The
Hmm.
Flash was really starting to pick up and do well. They had the Arrow crossover episodes, and then all of a sudden we're announcing Legends of Tomorrow. So for all of us, we're hearing about it. It's like, oh, they're taking it serious. They're
Hmm.
about to, go Justice League basically.
Hmm.
And then when you find out that it's like, no, it's just this future timeline story, and they're trying to take them to the future to fix some stuff, and then to the past to fix some stuff, and it's just like, okay, that's cute, but you guys only have like what 6 or 7 episodes to work with, so I want some action and I want some like really interesting things to happen because you obviously didn't pick the cream of the crop as far as characters go. I'm not, again, no slight against the actors. I like all of the actors playing the different roles that they're playing. But again, it goes into that whole situation of the Flash was doing so great. You're thinking that DC is going to continue to build on that momentum and keep the next show or the next series of shows are going to be on that same level. And this one just kind of fell a little bit short. Again, a victim of the hype. I think that was probably a problem with that one.
Dadakuji, what do you think?
Well, I quite enjoyed the show. I did miss like the last 3 episodes, mainly because of, and I'm not trying to
Life.
put the blame on this, but doing a
It's
lot of
life.
preparation work on this. and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
trying
Yeah.
to get things, handled with this. I kind of let things slide. I keep up with the Flash, and everything else kind of gets pushed back to the next day if I get a chance to. But from what I've seen so far, I do like it. I kind of agree with GQ when he talks about like the cream of the crop of characters is not really there. It does seem like the C-rated version of the Avengers and
You,
Doctor Who put together. But
there was a really good meme. There was a really good meme that was put out there. It said, "Legends of tomorrow, losers of today,"
yeah,
basically.
that
And
that's kind of how it sums up. But I still enjoy the show because DC's television shows do make me. I do enjoy watching them, so
hmm
I haven't had a problem with it. I do want to see the newest episode,
hmm
but when you get off work late and you want to eat dinner with your wife, things are just gonna have to get pushed to the back burner, and that's
Hey
one of the
man,
shows that gets
it's
pushed back.
life.
So
It's life.
yeah,
No other words are necessary. We also didn't get to the Flash this week. Um,
I
so
think we
let's.
talked about King Shark.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
we
did. We
did. We talked about King Shark. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
most
We did talk
definitely.
about King Shark, but
Oh yeah.
did we talk about the Zoom reveal? Oh yeah. We
Yeah,
did
yeah.
talk about the
Yeah,
Zoom
we hit
reveal,
that.
but
Yep.
but I didn't get to see this. But I mean, I didn't get to say this at the time, but real quick, uh, it was exactly like I said it was going to be in my prediction last week when we talked about the Flash. We said who's Zoom. That's exactly who I said it was going to be, and that's exactly the way it turned out. Okay, now let's get to why we're here today. We're here today. Thursday is going to be our movie or video game day, and today we're going to talk about movies. Tonight was the premiere of the Gods of Egypt film, a much maligned film starring Gerard Butler, Chadwick Boseman, who's seemingly the sole prominent black actor in this film, and it's also starring Enver Gokash from Game of Thrones. And to me, this was another example in even from the jump. We knew that this movie was going to be trouble because of the casting that was done in the movie. You had a story taking place in the Egyptian country in the continent of Africa, but outside of outside of the slaves that you see in the film, all the people in power are white. That was a that's a major problem for a lot of people, especially in today's age of increasing racial tension. Um, Immediately the film was hit with a bunch of backlash. People were boycotting it. I myself said I'm never going to go see this film. Similar to the way that I said I would never go see that Exodus film that came out for Christmas. What was it, last year or a couple years ago? Yeah, I think it was like a couple years ago. Exodus. It was the story of Moses, starring Russell Crowe. I said I'm not going to go see it because who's going to believe a story like that? No, I'm not going to go see that. And I was not alone in that feeling. But this was yet another example of Hollywood whitewashing, and we've seen it, you know, over the years, and it's beyond past time for it to stop. You know, what are you guys' thoughts on Gods of Egypt, and as a film, and in general, would you even go and see it?
Well, I'm not gonna go see it because I have no interest in it. The movie, regardless of who was cast in it, it just doesn't seem like a movie that would hold my interest. But it does seem to be quite a situation where you have, and that's not really a period piece, but a piece that takes place in a different part of the world where you know that the people who live there don't look like the people you're casting. And
Hmm.
though I don't agree with it, I kind of understand why they think they should do that because in their brains, supposedly, and I'm not saying this because I know, and I'm not even trying to defend them, is that all they see is one color and that's green. And they don't believe that people who are not white, that white people are going to go see the movie because of whatever. But it doesn't really matter. There's tons of movies out there that don't have a white cast that did
Hmm.
extremely well. So
exactly.
It really doesn't make
You
any
know,
sense. That's like
I
straight out of Compton, being cast with like
right,
Macklemore
and
and
it did well. Yeah, I mean, man, can you imagine if that film was
Eminem,
made like that? Oh my
Macklemore.
goodness. No, but seriously, no. You bring up a really great point because let's bring it back to comic related films. I mean, Blade starred Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
It starred. I don't want to say it was mostly black cast. But the two prominent members of the
there's only two
cast.
black people in that movie that I
Right, there
remember.
were only two black people in the movie, but they were the two most prominent members of the cast,
Yeah,
and it did well. Uh, let's talk about the endless amount of the success that Tyler Perry has had. With an entire nearly entirely black cast, he's done very well. White people have love his movies.
they
They
have to
do.
go see. I
They
mean,
have to go see it. They love seeing his movies. Now, let's leave all that other stuff that a lot of people feel about Tyler Perry aside. The brother's been successful
yeah,
with a mostly black cast, and so the whole hubbub, or the whole premise of saying that it's not going to work with a black lead or a mostly black cast, it's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch
yeah,
of
it is.
crap.
And that's
GQ.
what Ridley Scott said. Ridley Scott basically said that people won't go see it with some no-name person from such and such place because and and I don't necessarily think that's true. You got if you market anything, marketing a movie and showing it that it has a good story will work. Deadpool is a 100% example of marketing working. I believe you. I believe me that if Deadpool didn't have the marketing that it did, it would not have done what it did. We, the comic book fans, would have went to go see it, but the layman, the normal people who don't really go see every comic book movie or don't really care or
Hmm.
know anything about the character, wouldn't have gone to seen that movie. But it was the marketing, so they can cast whoever they want to fit the role how they should be. They just got to market the movie right because. Like, what does it matter if the lead character has more melanin in his skin? It's just a chemical that
Hmm.
protects you from the sun. Some people are born with more of it than others, and to star in a film, like it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. But yet people still keep falling back on that stuff and
Yeah.
thinking that look, we need somebody who's known. I'm like, okay, you don't have anybody who's known. Make somebody known.
Hmm.
Chadwick Boseman was not known before he started getting roles that made him known. Same goes with Wesley Snipes. Same goes with Idris Elba. Same
Same
goes
goes
with
with
all
Michael
those
B.
people.
Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. They weren't known before, but they're known now, and a
Hmm.
lot of people would love to have those people in
Hmm.
their movies. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
cast the people. If they're not known, make them known. You don't have an
I
Asian
agree.
to be your lead, find one.
you
That's
know
what
and
auditions are
and
for.
and Deadpool doesn't make nearly $500 million as an R-rated film by just catering to by being appealing to just the comic book fans. We don't have that much
Exactly.
money. So GQ, your thoughts?
Um, Again, Dadakuchi hit a lot of very excellent points. The marketing, as you know, I have a marketing degree. I mean, you can sell ice to the Eskimos with the right words, the right advertisement, the right spin on something.
Should I say
So
chocolate diamonds? Anybody?
exactly. The diamonds that nobody really truly would have wanted back in the day suddenly have become the most prized possession. Chicken wings, the same thing. Nobody really is the cuts of chicken that that nobody really wanted at the time. They
Hmm.
were throwing them away. Now all of a sudden you put buffalo in front of it. Oh, everybody wants buffalo wings and chicken wings. So it's like you can take anything and market it and put the right words on it, put the right trailer together, and next thing you know, you got a hit on your hands. I mean, look, each fight as Dadakuchi calls it, Fan Four Stick had a decent trailer, so it actually tricked a few people into going to see it. Now it flopped, granted, because it was a horrible movie, but uh, if you put the right marketing on something, you put the right spin on something, people are going to be drawn into it. Now, granted, yes, there's going to be some films that just will not perform well in certain markets due to the fact that they have a particular bias. The Asian markets, honestly, they always say that the black led films don't perform well over there. Certain cultural things don't translate. Whatever. If green is the name of the game, you know full well that the American market is really where you make the bulk of your money. Now, something like Star Wars or some of the major sci-fi epics, they're going to make money all over the place because science fiction is kind of a universally understood and universally loved thing. But you can look back at some of the other successes. You got your Coming to America, mainly all pretty much an all black cast. That movie did very well. Still, people talk about that movie to this day. You can even look back at even an animated feature with Lion King. The majority of the cast was black voice acting, um, which is basically a lot of the Coming to America cast just moved over to that movie. But there's always going to be films with people of color that do well that aren't always them in roles of being the help or being like servants or like Training Day being like crooked cops or whatever. They can do other things. I mean, it's not like black people are pigeonholed into only the stereotypes that we always get thrown at us. So for them to have this Gods of Egypt movie, which again, I'm gonna go see it just because I want to see what I just want to see it. I just have to see like what did you guys really think happened in ancient Egypt, which of course is in Africa, which is quite a few black people in Africa last time I checked.
Quite a few.
But I would just love to see like how did they fix themselves to make this movie for I think 140 million dollars or whatever it
Hmm.
cost them. So it's like, okay, what's the story you're trying to tell? Why do you really think that like only Gerard Butler, who I have a lot of respect for, I do like him.
Hmm.
He did great as Leonidas in 300. He was in a couple of other movies that I liked. So I mean, nothing against him personally. I mean, he's an actor getting work. I get that. I'm not putting anything against him for taking this role, but just the fact that it's just like, what made you guys think that you're going into Egypt and like all the gods are none of them are black? You really think that all those Egyptians back in the day, when they had their gods and the things that they worshiped, they didn't kind of picture it a
Hmm.
little bit of themselves in those gods? Like you have Set, you have Ra, you have all of these
You
different
have
ones, and it's
Anubis.
just
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just like Anubis is always been
Black.
depicted as black,
is
even though
black.
he's like
Yeah,
part dog or
He's a
whatever.
dog. Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
been
but
yeah.
black.
Anubis is a black
it's
dog.
all yeah,
Yeah.
it's always dark, very very dark color because he's supposed to be an underworld god.
Hmm.
So it's like I have a very hard time accepting that. Okay, yeah, all these guys, in their human forms, they're white.
Well,
Okay.
Simon says we're going to get to you, but uh, Dex brought up something, and we'll work it into discussion. The social media backdraft against Gods of Egypt has been so bad that the studio and director had to publicly apologize for the whitewashing. And he says maybe Hollywood is finally getting the message. I'm not sold on that notion yet. However, but when we have examples like let's go back to I think it was 2005 when M Night Shyamalan made that god awful Avengers, that last Airbender movie. That
Oh,
movie was
Avatar. Oh
white.
my
Yeah, that
goodness.
movie was whitewashed to crap. I mean, everybody in there was white. Everybody, with the exception of Dev Patel, who played Zuko. But even that was
Yeah,
miscast. Even though, yeah, you technically he was Asian, but he wasn't the right Asian
yeah,
for
yeah.
Zuko. I'm sorry. So do you think? Give us your thoughts on Gods of Egypt, and do you think that Hollywood is finally starting to get it because of the social media backlash?
I think it's more pressure than them getting it because if no one had it, I guarantee you, if no one really started like uproaring about it, they won't be doing anything about it. To be honest with you, so now that they're getting a lot of heat from it, yeah, then I think they're gonna like start to you know put their hands up and say come collectively and look at it. And it's like, yeah, next time we do an Egypt roll,
Hmm.
we probably just gonna stay away from it.
Or
Because
they
like
might stay
I
away from
saw,
Egypt movies altogether.
I
There's
think
that.
they will because I think they will because yeah, I saw I went to see Exodus
You
and
did?
On
I
purpose?
did
That's what I'm
on
saying.
purpose.
What? You did?
Yeah, I was curious. I mean, I saw
You were
Ten
curious.
Commandments when I was
Okay.
little.
Okay.
I was curious. I saw Ten Commandments when I was little, and I saw it, and I was kind of taken back. It's like, okay, this is Egypt. Why are the cast
Okay.
like?
Look, man.
It's
I'm.
like
I'm.
every
I'm gonna tell
there
you
were
right
like a
now.
few there were a few they cast a few like Jerusalems. They were actually had like a darker shade on them.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess they cast a few people from Jerusalem in the actual movie, but the actual lead cast was what was it Christian Bale and I forgot the other guy his name, but like everyone else was like, yeah, you guys are kind of the slight shade of
Look, man,
Egyptians.
I'm gonna tell you like this. There's only one Ten Commandments movie I'll even accept in my collection, and that is The Prince of Egypt. The Prince of Egypt was well
Well,
done.
yeah, yeah,
Granted,
that was done
granted,
right. That
yeah,
was
it
done
was
right.
done right, but granted, nearly the entire voice cast was white. Nearly the
Yeah,
entire voice cast was white. Even Sigourney Weaver, who played, I think Sigourney Weaver played, I think she might have played Moses's adoptive mom.
yeah.
Played Moses' adoptive mom in Exodus. A little bit of irony,
Again,
but
yeah,
let's throw this in here,
yeah.
guys, real quick. Let's throw this in here. Dex also threw in there as a devil's advocate quote. He says, "Can we really complain about white Egyptian gods when we love Thor for having when we love Thor and it has a black Norse god?" I hated that. I hated Idris Elba being cast as Heimdall. I thought it was wrong. I thought it was wrong because it wasn't one, it wasn't sticking to the source material, and two, who's ever heard of a black Norse god?
Okay,
Sorry.
but here's my rebuttal to that though.
Okay, go ahead.
You pick the one, I guess you can call it blackwashing or blackfacing or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You pick the one blackfacing example out of, I don't know, let's say 70 plus years
Mm-hmm.
of whitewashing. Let's
Right.
go all the way back. You had white people playing Indians.
Yep.
You had white people playing Asians.
Yep.
You had white people playing Klingons. I
Yep.
mean, it's like it's like you had white people playing every single role
Mm-hmm.
throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Even going back to like Jerry Lewis playing that extremely, extremely racist like depiction of an Asian man
Mm-hmm.
in what was it Breakfast at Tiffany's or something like
No,
that?
no, that was Mickey Rooney.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney playing that extremely like, I mean, there's like
Buck-toothed
you,
Japanese guy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
horribly racist, like
Horribly
just
racist.
blatantly racist, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, so you go through all of that history and then you finally get to the point where you're like, okay, you got more diversity, civil rights movement happened, you got all these different people coming from all over the world to live in this country. You finally have like a little bit more acceptance, and then you still go in and cast white people for Egyptian people,
Mm-hmm.
for Asian people, and
Mm-hmm.
this is like you hit like Emma Stone was in that one film playing a
Aloha.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, playing a
Aloha.
half, she's supposed to be like Asian or something. I'm like,
Half
really?
white, half Hawaiian. Yeah, and
Again, I
had
you
no
could have
What about
easily
features.
found, yeah,
yeah,
you could have easily found somebody that was half white, half Hawaiian to play that
Sure
role
could
like you
have
said. It's like you
millions.
with the way the world is connected now, there is no excuse anymore to
None.
not find these people to play these different roles, because it's like social media has connected people in so many different ways,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unfortunate that social media is kind of the only way to put pressure on them, because obviously, again, and I'm guilty of it because like I said, I might even go see the movie, the dollars is really the only way that they're going to make the change. If
Now,
people
here's
really truly stop going, then they'll get some
to
change going.
to your point, and that's a very good point. To your point. Now, could it be this is an example that the studios are afraid of taking that risk because they need to make bank on their films? They need to rely on a bankable star instead of someone that's unknown and not established, someone that doesn't fit the role. Because I mean, say what you will. I mean, yes, there's lots of black actors, but and they are pigeonholed, but they're not bankable stars. They're not.
I
They're
don't
not
believe in
stars that are
that.
bringing the movie. They're not stars that'll
Mm.
bring in the movie. I mean, okay. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they're not bankable stars in certain roles, but it might not be the right fit for the role of the movie
No,
that they're
no,
casting. You
I
know what I'm
get what
saying?
you're saying, but just the whole term bankable stars, I think, is BS. Seriously, it's bullshit because everybody who's an actor started from somewhere. And the only reason why they're known is because they went out, they did their job very well, and people liked them. All you got to do is
Yeah.
put people in a role that is what they should be in. You market the movie correctly, and people will watch it and either say, "Yeah, I like them in that role," or I don't like them in that role." Just because you put somebody who is quote unquote bankable in a role does not mean that the movie's gonna be good. How
Now,
many
Lone Ranger,
movies that
I
sucked
hear
Lone
what you,
Ranger,
I
that had
no.
the
no
Lone
stars in it?
Johnny Depp and Lone
case
Ranger
in
proves
point.
that point. Proves
Yeah,
that
Exactly. It doesn't.
No,
That
no,
100%.
no,
don't
no. Case in
matter.
point.
that's true.
So it's just
Case
you
in
That is
point.
put
very true.
the
Expendables 3.
Who?
Expendables 3. They had all those big bankable actors from from the 80s action stars, and that movie was
that's a
horrible.
different type of
That's a
movie.
little bit of a different example.
Yeah.
Expendables was tongue in cheek,
Still,
regardless.
Yeah.
Well,
It
but
Expendables
just
three
still
also
though, you mean
Expendables three also suffered a rating change. They should have just left it
They
R
they
just
should
like
have
rated
all
left
R.
it
the other
on.
ones
Yeah,
have
they
been.
did.
So
Yeah, they
that
should have.
that pushed away a lot of your core audience.
Hmm.
The
But
the
yeah,
Hmm.
reason, yeah, if you're looking back at like Daddy Kuchi said, bankable stars. Who's more bankable than Johnny Depp? Pirates of the Caribbean has made billions of dollars, and
Hmm.
that man is like he was at the point where like anything he touched was gold. He jumped in the role of Tonto, and that movie
Yeah,
flopped. Now,
yeah,
true enough, the
he's
yeah.
movie
not
itself
Native
wasn't.
American.
Yeah, true enough, the movie
He was
itself
Native.
was
He's
not
Native
that
American.
good, but it was a lot of backlash of why is Johnny Depp taking this role? Why is
Hmm.
Johnny Depp put in this position? No, again, Johnny Depp, phenomenal actor, amazing talent, but they should have got a Native American to play Tonto because again, you go back to the original show, it's just like okay, um, yeah, it's extremely stereotypical depiction of him. And what do they bring to this new movie in the new millennium? Same horrible, almost damn near racist depiction of a Native American.
And
Hmm.
that exactly proves my point. Had they got a Native American in there, and the movie still did the exact same way, then there you
It
go.
was
It's
it was a
just
bad
it's not
movie.
the actors that always bring the
Yeah.
people in. It's like okay, if you got a movie out there that looks interesting, has a good story, and people go to watch it, and they're like, "Oh, this movie is good." They tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and everybody goes to see it. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Deadpool. And I'm sorry I keep going back to Deadpool, but Deadpool is an I can't say it. I never get
Anomaly.
Phenomenal.
anomaly.
Mm.
It was because it was a comic book movie that had no budget. Of course, Ryan Reynolds is he's a known, but they pulled something that was spectacular, and it was because of it was a good story and it had really great marketing, and that's what it takes to do a movie. You got a good story, you got good marketing, people are probably gonna like the movie.
And also to kind of cement your point, Ryan Reynolds is not exactly a bankable star. He's a
No, he's
movie
been in a lot
star.
of bullshit.
He's a movie star, but he's not exactly a bankable star. And um, I'm sure Daredevil has elevated his stock a little bit higher.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he's
Not
getting paid for
Daredevil.
Daredevil
Definitely,
too.
I mean, I'm
definitely.
Stop
sorry,
saying
Deadpool.
it.
Excuse
Stop
me.
saying. Oh my God, you
Excuse
guys
me.
are just like got
Deadpool,
Daredevil on the
excuse
Deadpool.
me.
brain.
Why I
Just
keep
because
saying Daredevil,
just because they both start
Deadpool.
with D and end with L does not make them the same character.
No, you're right. You're
You're
right.
right.
No,
You're right.
Deadpool.
but
Excuse
no.
us, everybody out there. We got Daredevil on the brain.
Yeah. Can't wait to
I
see the show. It's
Deadpool.
going to be so good. Can't wait to
I
see the
think
show.
one of the things that you guys are kind of missing a little bit with that Ryan Reynolds campaign to get that movie done right is what a lot of fans respected. That's why that film did so well. Beyond just the marketing aspect, obviously they were in your face all day long with the extremely creative marketing, but
Hmm.
the fact that it was so like on social media and that it was just so well known that hey, I want to do this right because the last time we did this character, it was terrible, and the fact that he owned up to that and basically campaigned to make it right is, I think, why a lot of people got behind this. So if you look at even going back to this whitewashing thing, if you get enough people in there to say, "Hey, you know what? We need to do this right," and you get the good social media movement going, you're going to have a successful film.
All right, cool.
As long as you get a good story.
So do you think he's going to go back to Warner Brothers and say, "Hey, we really need to do Green Lantern right"?
No. I'm not even talking about like the comic book aspect. I'm talking about like as far as like these films of like casting all the wrong people. You feel
Hmm.
these these roles that should be more diversity.
Hmm.
I think if you get a director or an actor that like wants to really get a project done and say, hold on, we can't cast everybody as somebody white if they're not supposed to be white. If you
Hmm.
get somebody that wants to really get in there and make that push, and they got enough pull in Hollywood to do it, and you get a social media movement behind them and saying, hey, you know what, we want to support this because they're finally doing it right, I think you're going to have a successful film. It is, again, they just got to find the right story, the right film, whatever they're going to tell. But I think it can be done.
A shining example of that is, and maybe it's an example of us kind of taking the bull by the horns and kind of doing it ourselves. Um, at the Sundance Film Festival just this past year, that Nate Parker film based on Nat Turner, Birth of a Nation, completely cast, all black cast, completely done by Nate Parker himself, directed and starring him. Got bought, I mean, by Fox Searchlight. I mean, they couldn't wait. It took Sundance by storm. They loved it, and it's going to come out later this year. Now, that's an example of it kind of being done right with the right director, the right passion, and the film, obviously was done with a lot of respect. So maybe Hollywood is going to start to get with the program with these continual examples coming out here. Now,
Hold on, wait. It's supposed to come out what time next year? Like what?
no, this year, October. In
Oh, okay.
October.
Okay, so it is coming out late enough where it's going to be remembered to possibly get in the Oscars because if it
Yes,
comes
yes,
out
and I
too
think,
early,
yep.
comes out too early, man, they're gonna
Yo, you
forget
can
all
forget
about
it. Yeah, you can forget it. Yeah,
it.
yeah, and I think they did that on purpose. They want to position it for an Oscar run, which is really great. And let's hopefully Hollywood will learn their lesson. I mean, I know uh, they were going to do Akira as a Hollywood film with a pretty much white cast. George Takei famously came out and said, "This is crap. You need to not do the film." Uh, and they
Ghost in the
cast.
Shell, man.
They
Ghost in the
cast. Yeah,
Shell.
I was just getting to that lovely lady that's perched over your left shoulder, Scarlett Johansson being cast as Motoko Kusanagi for Ghost in the Shell. It's a joke, man. I'm sorry. I love Scarlett as much as I might love Scarlett more than the next guy, but no, just don't do that. No, no. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work. But you know what, guys? It's been a great show. Great show. It's near that time. This was a really great discussion. Had a lot of fun doing it with you guys. I want to thank you guys for an awesome show. Let's preview a little bit of what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow's our getaway day. Tomorrow is Friday free for all. So we're going to do another Final Fantasy Fantasy Final Battle like we did last week. So that should be a very fun discussion. If you haven't seen it, it's in the channel. It's in the archives. Find out what we did with Batman vs. Black Panther, and make sure you join us tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and join in all the fun. We don't know exactly who we're going to do just yet, but if you want to find out who we are going to do, follow us on Twitter. I'm certainly going to post that at some point tomorrow, and make sure you join us for all the fun. So for my boys GQ, Great Datakuji, Simon Says, we're out till tomorrow, 10 p.m. Hasta mañana.
See you guys later. Take care. Peace.
Goodbye and be kind to each other.